Sure, why not? Let's do it. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to make homemade fresh pizza dough. Got the recipe online. This is what I've been doing for the past probably 2 weeks. It slaps. It's delicious. It's super easy to make. Flour, sugar, salt, water. You need yeast. That's the only thing you probably don't have at your house. A little bit of olive oil. It's delicious. It's phenomenal. Just going over the dough today. Usually use fresh mozzarella, fresh Parmesan. Depending on what you're making, a little bit of ricotta cheese like hits the spot. And then for the sauce, this is what I use: beef fratelli, crushed tomatoes, put a bunch of olive oil, like mix it in after when you're making your sauce, a bunch of oregano, and then minced garlic. If you not brown it, but if you like cook it a little bit, it's a little bit better, but you can mix that straight in. It'll cook when you make the pizza too. So let's get straight into to making the actual dough. And then as we do this video, I'm going to be talking about how it relates to business too. So in business, first we're going to start off with, gotta give you the ingredients list. 1.5 cups water at 110 degrees. And we're supposed to mix in the yeast first. So that was the water. Now we got some yeast. And the first correlation I thought of when it came to like, how is making pizza, like how am I gonna relate this to business? And surprisingly, it made me think of running Facebook ads. Ironic, it's not like that's the only thing I do or anything. But it made me think about making Facebook ads, because when I run a Facebook ad, I gotta think about, like, I love sales, because usually if I make a phone call, I'll close a sale. But on the marketing side, which is different, marketing takes some time usually before you actually get the deal done after that. So let's say I have a list, I do my marketing, I get my list of people to cold call, warm call, somebody DMs me on Instagram and I can set them up with a meeting. Whatever the case may be. The sales part's easy, but on the marketing side, and we gotta mix this up, we gotta let this sit for a second. On the marketing side, it takes time. So with the pizza dough, the time that it takes, you gotta let this sit overnight so that the yeast gets worked in. So we put the yeast in the water, mix this up, let it sit for like a second. You're supposed to mix this in first. I was just doing it where I'd mix it all in the bowl together or whatever. But this way, the yeast is all mixed in there. But when I run an ad, I love sales because it's like an easy close. It's like an easy deal. It's guaranteed money. You make the call. There's already somebody who wants the products. As long as you know what you're doing sales-wise, you're in, it's done, you make your money, the deal's done. But with this is on the marketing side, if my pipeline's not full, if I don't run ads a week prior, 2 weeks prior, even 1 to 2 months prior, like I'll see it in my revenue even. When I don't run ads for Dip Lab or Summit, let's say I spend less than I usually do that week or whatever, or that month, the next month I'll see it. Like every 2 week window, I'll see a difference in sales when I'm spending less on ads or when I don't have new ads running versus when I'm spending more. So the same thing. We're gonna let this dough sit and rise overnight, but it takes time to get that stuff in. This is such a shit correlation, but like it's the first thing that came to mind was the patience with it. I love closing, I love sales, but sometimes you gotta have a little bit of patience for the good things to manifest, like with your ads. So if you're running an ad, let it do its job, and the consistency with that, consistently running the ads. But when the time comes that it's ready to make the pizza and put the dough in the oven, like tomorrow or a week from now, and one of the things I read online about dough is like it's good after 24 hours. You definitely want to let it sit for 24 hours in the fridge overnight. We'll talk about that after. But if you let it sit for like in the fridge for about a week, it almost gets like a sourdoughy taste. It gives it way more flavor with the salt and the sugar. So I think the most I let it sit was like three days and before I ate it, because I had like 4 pizzas one night. So next thing we're gonna be putting in 3.5 cups of flour. Put it in, mix it in. You're gonna need a little bit extra after, because when you're kneading it out. I like to take a fork. Before we get to that though, need a little bit of sugar. Let's say a teaspoon. A little bit of salt. Couple teaspoons of that. Jesus, this is gonna be so awful. And then some olive oil. just a little. We're Italian. A little means we're probably gonna end up putting more on later. But the two cooking tricks that I picked up on this year are olive oil and salt are like the biggest cheat codes when it comes to flavor and cooking. Like if you're thinking of something to add and you just want to add like a dash more flavor without having to actually do something about it, just add a little bit of salt or a little bit of olive oil depending on what you're making. Like if I add some olive oil, yeah, it adds that good flavor. That's what it's all about. This is an art process, kind of like business. Like no two businesses are identical, no anything's identical, no two fingerprints. And then we're just gonna mix the shit out of this. This part is the longest part, along with the kneading. When you knead the dough up, it literally takes like 10 minutes of just straight kneading it. But again, it's part of the journey. All this billionaire CEOs talk about enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. This is where it gets annoying and sticky. But it's all good. Sometimes business gets sticky, as Peter Shamoon would say. So we're gonna mix this up. We're ready to put everything in. Got our ingredients in. The only thing I didn't have was the yeast. So that was kind of cool. And it's like 69 cents per packet when you go to the store and you get the yeast. I went to Meyer, but if you're not in Michigan, you might not have Meyer. I think that's exclusive to Michigan because they're like a Grand Rapids family or something. Sure, it's cool. Had a couple people reach out on Instagram. Didn't even know I like to cook. I'm like, this is my shit. My first job when I was 14, 15 was at Anyam in Grosse Pointe. And my dad's a phenom cook too. So I get that from him. And this is getting kind of to the point where it's done. We're gonna want to have some extra flour on the side because this is gonna be really sticky. And then this is about this is really sticky. So we got our extra flour. Dry this up a little bit. This is so sticky, bro. That's what she said. Like sticking to my hands so bad. It's messy. Hey, what are you yelling at? Usually he just wants food. The sweetest baby, I promise you. The sweetest dog you'll ever meet. How else can we correlate this to business? Sometimes business dealings get sticky during the way. Like, yeah, I guess we can throw that in there without being like too cliche. Sometimes when you're doing it, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Flour, sift it on the counter. We did clean this counter beforehand because we're not animals. We don't eat outside and eat sticks and mud. And we're gonna throw this right here. Get all this stuff off my fingers. But yeah, so back to the business side. Sometimes when you're in your business dealings, when you're on that journey, this is so like ridiculously all over the place. That's the only downside to me. And now it's got it everywhere. Okay. But it's not always a walk in the park necessarily. Sometimes you got to get your hands dirty if you want to play with the big boys. All right, this is getting much better. So when I added the flour, I can like grab this without it being a pain in the ass now. There's only a little bit more in here, and then we're good. And then just keep adding flour until it's not sticky anymore. You can add it on the counter, you can add it right on top of the dough. And we're gonna do this for about 10 minutes of just kneading it. The person I saw on YouTube said literally just this is ridiculous. Oh my God, bro. This dog is nuts. I got this shit everywhere. This is not going how I was expecting it to go. The first time I made it though, she said just knead it for like 10 minutes straight. Just kneading it. We're dumping that all out. Because otherwise, if you don't set the timer, you won't do it for the amount of time you're supposed to. And you want to do it for the full 10 minutes. So this is the consistency part of business. We got our marketing in place. We put our ads out. That's the dough. And now we're putting ads out daily. So we're spending that daily dollar amount that we decided we're going to spend on Facebook and Instagram ads. Because on Facebook ads, you only have to spend $1 a day and you'll still get ads out of it. And if you have depending on the CRM you're getting, that might mean you're reaching 1,000 people per day. Not CRM, CPM. Depending on the cost per 1,000 impressions you're getting, you might be able to reach 1,000 targeted people in your audience per day. So for $1 a day, I don't care what business you're in. Everybody has $1 a day. I don't like if you're broke mentally, not dollar wise. If you can't spend $1 a day on ads, you are the problem. Unless you don't see value in the ads. But that's different than saying I can't afford it. Being able to afford it is a choice. There's always financing options in place. There's never a reason to not be able to afford something that's going to improve your business depending on what it is. And that's like wealth is, without sounding like stupid and like bullshitty, wealth is more so a mentality than it is about the dollar amounts. And you have to have the dollar amounts too. So don't be poor. Don't be like all these college kids going into mounds and mounds. I think, ooh, my sell order just went through. Let's go. Means I just made some money on Match.com. We're up $400 for the day. The video I said earlier, I said we were up like $800 for the week. That puts me at like $1,100 for the week. Good week. 2.5 months into trading. I'm pumped that sell order just went through. But back to the wealth mindset part. If you can't spend $1 a day on Facebook ads, then there's a really deeper issue than that. Like, I don't care if you have $1,000 in your bank account or $100 in your bank account. That means you're literally just not working. And then the next step, so after we're kneading it more, one of the strategies I saw is like taking the edges and pulling it up and in the middle underneath, because then you're getting all the fresh stuff that's on the inside that's dry, or that's wet still, that's sticky. And then as that gets sticky, the sticky stuff comes out. Roll that in the fresh powder. Fresh powder, like the snowboarding yesterday. The fresh flour. There's no way I'm out of flour. Shit. We might have to take a break. Go to the store. Bruh. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to, when I actually go to cook it. Because when you cook the dough, so we're gonna let this sit overnight, and then it'll be good to go by tomorrow. But when you actually cook the dough, this makes like 4 pizzas. This alone maybe costs what, $6 in product. We'll make like 4 12-inch pizzas, and they're good as hell. Set the oven to like 600. If you have a pizza oven, it works way better. Like when we go to Kayla's house, one of my friends, she's got a pizza oven on her deck, and we just put it in there because that gets up to like 1,000 degrees, and then it cooks in about 8 minutes or so, I want to say. Just more kneading. This is the consistency. This is the day in and day out grind. Showing up every day. Not just talking about it, but doing it. Getting off your ass and taking the action. But no, like I really, really want to nail home the part about not being able to spend money on ads. Like, you're not committed to your business if that's the case. And nobody might tell you, but it needs to be said, because this dog's going nuts. It needs to be like, so the reason I'm bringing this up specifically is because I'll be pitching people, and they'll be like, well, I don't have the money, which all that ever means, hey, come here. Whenever somebody tells you I don't have the money for it, in a sale, we get a little bit of sales training in here too. If they say they don't have the money for it, most of the time it means they don't see the value in it. Because if I said, let's just do some math. If I said to you, I'll sell you this product that's worth $5 for $1, nobody says no to that deal because the value is so clear. If I said, I'll sell you this genuine $5 bill for $1, why would anybody say no? It makes no sense to say no because it's an obvious deal. The value exchange is so obvious. But when you're buying a product or service and they don't trust you or they don't know you and you don't have the rapport there, gonna butter this girl up. That's more of a reason for them to say no, because then at least they're being honest with you versus them saying, oh, well, I don't know, let me think about it, which is usually like my favorite load of shit to sell. I love selling because it's just getting past people's limiting beliefs. It's kind of like closing girls to go on dates with you, which I've made other videos about. So now I'm content with how much I needed this. We're gonna ball it up, cover it up in olive oil, coat the bottom of our bowl in olive oil. Can never have too much olive oil. Kind of like when you make pasta too. And then this is gonna expand overnight. Coat the bottom of the bowl nice and good. Dough's coated, dough's in. Oh my God, bro. It's squirrel season. Wash your hands off, don't be disgusting. And then we're gonna get some cling wrap. Cover this up. Put a towel on top. Put it in the fridge overnight, 24 hours. Put it in the fridge overnight, 24 hours. And then tomorrow, it'll be good to eat. And it's so good. Like, you got it. The only main thing, I guess, maybe I'll make a video of making the actual pizza. Cover this up good, airtight, put it in the fridge, you're set. Holy packed fridge. We've made bacon chicken pizza, we've made bacon venison pizza, chicken jalapeno pizza. They're all delicious. Like, the creativity side is all you. The last thing I guess I would say about this is enjoy it. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process without sounding bullshitty. I had fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. Love you so much. See you all in the next video.